Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Pet. Today we are finding Dory.
My family! I remember my family! They're out there somewhere. Have to find them. Guys, you gotta help me, guys. Guys, hello? Guys, where are you?
Dory!
Hello?
Dory!
Ah!
No, not that Dory. This Dory. This is Lohen Mini's demonstrator, called Dory. She's an F56 Mini Cooper with some huge amounts of modifications. This is gonna be a good one. So hopefully by now you will have seen my video where I bought my Ruby Roadster to the guys here at Lohen and gave it a Performance Pack 2 Stage 2 tune with a Krapovich downpipe, and you should have hopefully also seen my first drive. I cannot tell you how pleased I am with the car and the work that's been done. It's totally transformed the car. But what I also wanted to do while I was here at Lohen was just to explore a few other tuning options that I might consider down the line. And the guys have been very kind and given me the keys to these two beauties, one of which is quite well known. So first of all, here we have Penny. So she is an R56 with a stage 1 tune and a few very special bits. So we're going to take this car up the road and just talk about, this car has some of the next modifications I might do on Ruby Roadster. And then, I'm massively excited, this is Dory. So Dory is their kind of ultimate mini, an F56 with a ghost tune on it and lots of very cool bits. So we're going to take her up the road. All I can say is she sounds absolutely brilliant. So let's get cracking and take Penny up the road. I cannot wait for this. Welcome to Penny. So Penny is an R56 hatch, Cooper S, that's had quite a lot of work done to her. Now, you may well be considering modifying your car or be interested in it, but might not want to necessarily go straight to a stage 2 tune. So I thought we'd start off in this car, because this car's had a stage 1 tune, but it's also had some other interesting things that may well be things I considered doing to Ruby Roadster. So notable things are, this car has a limited slip diff and an uprated clutch, so it's got a much higher bite point and may be able to deal with the higher torque and power figures. Now, Ruby's clutch is actually doing fine with the stage 2, but ultimately I'm sure I'll probably end up thinking about changing it when the time comes. Other things this car has is it has coilovers, so it's a slightly lower stance and it's going to have a nicer kind of sharper handling feel. And it's got uprated brake pads at the front. Now that's a fairly simple modification. That's just Mintex pads on standard calipers and standard discs, and I may well do that because that's just to give it a little bit more bite and a bit more stopping power. And then the final thing this car has, which is worth noting, is it has a magic button. So it's got a switchable valve exhaust by a company called Ragazon, and apparently when you switch the valve on, it sounds properly ace, so I can't wait for that. So we've got a nice little route from here, just up the road. It's not that far, it's about 5 to 10 miles, so with just enough time for us to be able to kind of really get to grips with the car and feel what she's like. But actually put the key in properly. That would help. There we go. And then just check this high bite point as well. And there we go. Off we go. So let's go and find some twisty, bendy roads and put this baby through its paces, shall we? So out on the open road then, and already there's some really special things about how this car feels. I can feel the limited slip diff pretty much straight away. It reduces so much of the torque steer, and the clutch, once you get used to the higher biting point, it just has a really nice direct feel to it, and I like it a lot. And then just the poise on the roads from these coilovers, all of those things add up to make this a very special feeling little car. And the road surface actually is pretty good. I'm just hoping that the kind of road opens up a little bit and I can lose the car in front. But it really does feel brilliant. And someone said when you go down the modification route, beware, because it's an addictive thing and you keep having to do more and more and more things to the car. And already I can understand that the 3 mods that I can feel, so the limited slip diff, the clutch and the coilovers, make a big difference. Torque and a lot of power. And when you get a bit of open road, this LSD just helps you put that power onto the tarmac in a fairly spectacular way. There's something about a fast Mini that just makes you smile, and this one is a very well sorted one. So you might be thinking, oh, you know, stage 1, is that going to give me enough power? Believe me, from where I'm sitting right now, there's enough power in this car. It really does feel nice. But it's those other subtle changes. The diff just helps the car deal with that power, and the poise on the road with the suspension is very, very good. Lovely set of bends coming up. It's just, and it's lovely tarmac too. You've just got so much poise. It tightens up a bit there. Now I like it, the exhaust's nice, so I'm not getting the mega raucous pops and bangs that Ruby gives me, but it's got this really nice deep tone, and with the valve you can turn it off so you don't get so much drone on the motorways and stuff. But wow, I love this car. Lohen, sorry, I don't want to give it back. About the R56 is you can pick them up for not much money, and you know, just get a Cooper S one, and then you can just do some really clever bits of modification on it, and you end up with a car that's just so brilliant to go down these little back roads, these B roads, and you stick this on a track and you'd have an absolute whale of a time. And it's just a really interesting proposition, whether you wanted just a fun weekend car. Oh, these Mintex pads are good as well. Whether you wanted just a fun weekend car, or you wanted to really go down the route of doing some proper kind of performance grade mods, you end up with a little thing that's gonna put a smile on your face whenever you get behind the driver's seat. And when you get an open bit of road like this, honestly, I can't think you need anything else, any other car. Minis are just so good at that. When you hit a national speed limit sign, you can just oh. And I have to say, guys, Lohen have some mega driving roads around their office and their workshop. Absolutely brilliant road, this. Wowzers. It's just perfect for a Mini, basically. But I really want to go and have a test drive of Dory. Now, Dory was at Autosport and kind of lots and lots of people raved about her. She's a very, very special car. She has some very cool things on her. So I reckon we head back to Lohen, swap keys and go out in the F56, fairly heavily modified Dory. Let's go, next stop, Lohen. Okay, so here we are, back at Lohen and ready to try out Dory. The nice thing about coming here is it's just surrounded by lovely Minis everywhere. There she is. So, let's go and explore Dory, shall we? I have a feeling this is going to be very, very special. In fact, I can't wait. Oh, I can't help myself. I've found Dory. Anyway, welcome to Lohen Mini's ultimate mini demonstrator. This thing is very special. I've been so excited when I mean, just listen to that. It's ridiculous. When I first started to talk to the guys here about modifying my car, actually the first conversation we had was about coming up and just driving this car, and it's taken quite a while to get that sorted, but finally we're here. So I'm going to take it out on the same road that we took Penny on, and I think this is going to be very special because this car has quite a lot of modifications on it.
Dory is fitted with Lohen's Ghost spec. A Forge front mount intercooler, Nitron R1 coilovers, a Quaife ATB differential, and a Manic Motorsport Stage 1 remap. RSI C6 bonnet scoop and VTR spoiler. She also has a Remus valved catback exhaust with carbon tailpipes. And finally, a very nice set of OZ Racing Hyper GT wheels with a Tarok Sport big brake kit with gold 6-spot calipers up front.
So he told you, a lot of modifications. Now I've driven an F56 JCW a couple of years ago now, and a super impressive car. Clearly the big difference between this car and my car, this has got a 2-litre rather than the 1600 turbo in mine, and even stock they produce quite a lot more horsepower. But this has had quite a bit done to it. Engine wise, as I've said, you know, we've got something like 285 horsepower, but it's all the other things, and already the exhaust has got some really sharp cracks and pops coming out of it. The car feels super taut. The suspension setup is really quite firm, especially on these bumpy roads, but it's kind of like the ultimate mini handling, and I'm loving it already, and we haven't even got to the open twisty bits yet. I've also got a head-up display which just adds to that theatre and drama, and actually inside the guys haven't really done anything. It's just a really nicely spec'd Mini. Outside we've got a beautiful wrap on it, but it's those wheels and the brake calipers and the brake discs make it look really special. Super mega stance, and then the Remus exhaust is just brilliant. Okay, here we go. Oh wowzers. That gearbox, you really have to be quite firm with it. Wow, this I've got the machine gun going off behind me. It's got so much poise on the road, this car. Wow. And it is very quick. Auto rev matching, so you don't have to bother doing heel and toe. It kind of does that for you. Touch of wheel spin there. Now I've got the traction control on. The interesting thing in my Mini, before I had the tune done, is I used to drive it with traction control fully off quite a lot, because it leaves it right up to your right foot to sort out any traction issues. When you've got a higher tuned car and you have the traction control on, the traction control light will come on quite a lot. But in the damp conditions, I'm certainly not going to turn it off today because it's not my car and I'm still learning it. But I've got to say the feeling from the front end, considering it's got so much power, is mightily impressive. Yes, the suspension's pretty firm, but I expected that. But it's got a kind of nice direct firmness to it, and when you get to a corner and you just turn the front end in, it's superb. Oh no, this is going to be very, very expensive. However, I'm just having a mega thought here. My new Mini GP3 is basically based on this car, or based on the F56, the John Cooper Works F56. So it's going to be this kind of size and shape and format, but hopefully north of 300 horsepower and some very special bits. So this is kind of, I feel like, a really nice taster as to what my Mini GP3 could well be like. Front wheel drive, whether it'll be a manual or not, we're yet to see, but if it's anything like this car, I am super excited about it now. Well, what do I say? What are my final conclusions of these two beauties I've driven today, as the weather gets nasty and it's horrible and rainy and slippy and so on? I'm going to head back to Lohen, but final impressions of the cars I've driven today. First, Penny. Beautiful little car, and I have to say, if you wanted to get into having a really nice fast car to drive on the road, supercar for a track day, pick up an old R56 Mini Cooper S and just do some tweaks to it with the guys at Lohen, and you're going to end up with an absolute cracking little car for not stupid amounts of money. Now, that Stage 1 tune was really interesting to compare it with Ruby Stage 2. Not as raucous, but you know, still plenty of power. Really love the limited slip diff and the uprated clutch as well. But then I get in this. I get in Dory, finally get to drive this kind of almost mythical car within the Mini community, and it is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It's super powerful, but all the things that have been done to it, the suspension is pretty firm, don't get me wrong, but it's firm in a really good way. It's not jaw-dropping, fillings flying out firm, it's just firm and purposeful, and you stick it into a corner and it's just got the manners round a corner. Oh, it's just beautiful. And then you've got, you know, really great uprated brakes. You stick the anchors onto this thing and it stops really quickly. And then the Remus exhaust has a soundtrack out the back, and I haven't even mentioned the stereo they've got in this. This thing has the best stereo ever, but unfortunately reviewing stereos on YouTube is particularly difficult. One, you put some music on and you don't have the copyright, you get demonetized straight away. And two, good as the mics are on my in-car cameras, they won't pick up how good it is, but believe me, it is properly sweet. So I have to say a huge thank you to Mark and all the team at Lohen. Clearly they've done a super job on Ruby, but letting me have access to these two cars today has been really cool, and I've enjoyed every minute. And if you want to do anything to your car, I'll put all their details in the description below. Have a chat with them. They're brilliant at just talking through all the different options. They're not going to try and sell you everything that they can. They want the modifications to be right for you, and that's the whole, is modification, so they can tweak and sort of put together packages that have what you want in a car, and they do it brilliantly well. But with, oh man alive, this car's good. But with that, I'm going to sign off there, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this one as much as I have. If you have done so, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol for plenty more content to come, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. But you take care, drive safe.